Every year, millions of immigrants come to America chasing a dream of opportunity, a dream of a better life, a dream of becoming something more. But what many do not realize is that the journey is filled with confusion, legal traps, and costly mistakes. And that is why this show exists. This is the Immigrant Survivor Show with Dr. Ope Banwo, where we provide information to help immigrants achieve their American immigration dreams without the nightmares. Pay attention as we break it all down for those who have ears to listen.
Alrighty, welcome everyone to another exciting edition and day 8 of our 30 Days of Immigrant Survival show Q&A, where we come at you every day to answer your questions, to see how we can help make your immigrant life better for those of us who are in America already and those who are intending to jump to America or to come to America. The Immigrant Survivor Show is anchored by myself and my 4 musketeers, those who help me to make these things happen, to do the research, to make sure they get your questions from wherever you're posting them, and to make sure that I'm here and not distracted in coming to the show. I have Grace Okafor. Grace, good evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, the great attorney. Thank you so much for bringing me on stage for this awesome show tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, awesome yourself, just like the show. Alrighty. And of course, we have Mr. Samuel Opan, one of our senior paralegals here. Samuel, what's going down tonight?
Everything is great, sir. Everything is going fine. You're welcome, everybody, to yet another awesome edition of the Immigrant Survivor Show. Just stay tuned, and Doc definitely is going to give you the best. Thank you very much, sir, for the privilege.
All righty. And of course, we have Mr. Stephen Oyeleye. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, sir. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. And to everyone watching, I just want to encourage you, no matter where you are in your immigration journey, stay positive and stay hopeful. Challenges will come, but they are not the end of your story. With the right information from this show and the right mindset, there's always a way forward. Keep believing, keep pushing, and don't give up on your dreams. Thank you, sir.
All right, that's Pastor Stephen right there for you. Okay, the preacher's got to go. Thank you guys once again for being on the show with me tonight. I'm hoping that we are going to be able to solve a lot of problems for people tonight and have a great show as usual. All right, stay with me in the studio in case I need you to come in and explain some of this stuff to my folks. Thank you so much. All right, guys, there you have it. The Immigrant Survivor Show, day 8 of the 30-day marathon edition with Dr. Ope Banwo is officially live right now. For those who may be wondering, what are we doing? We just opened our new office in Dallas, Texas after 29 years in Nebraska. And we are kicking off that the Dallas edition of our law practice with a 30-day Immigrant Survivor Marathon show where we come out every day and try our best to answer all your questions live on here for free. Call it a 30-day free on-air consultation for you. So feel free to post your questions on the thread where you are watching this. I want to believe we are live on Instagram right now. We are live on Twitter. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on Facebook, I think. And I think we're also live on YouTube. YouTube is our primary platform for this. So if you are watching this on YouTube, just give us a shout out, and hopefully you also have your questions that I'll be answering in the third segment of the show. As always, we start the show out with what I call the rant of the day, or call it the memo of the day. People don't like rant. Maybe I'm going to change it to memo of the day. They're like, this is not Mayor Fade What are you ranting about? I'm like, okay, I'm trying to talk. All right, so we'll call it the memo of the day. And after that, we will talk about the updates that has happened literally over the last 48 hours. You know, you wake up in America now, there's an update that is happening. Something is always happening with immigration now in America, and our job is to bring them to you as they happen. So we talk about the updates of the day, and then the third segment, we will talk about your question and answer for the day. We try to answer as many of the questions as we can answer during this show. All right, so let's start it off with the memo of the day. And my title for that, I want to talk today about how America doesn't owe you success. That America, truth be said, only owes you an opportunity to succeed. Because some of us come here and we get this confused. Okay? Actually, that's not the memo. This is the memo. Okay? America doesn't owe you success. It only owes you opportunity to succeed. That is the memo of the day that I want to address here. Okay? Because sometimes when you talk about these things, it makes a few people uncomfortable. But that's the point of the memo on a daily basis, to challenge you, to encourage you, to tell you the truth about America, even as we do our best to make sure you survive America, that your American dream survives without the nightmare. Because the truth sometimes is uncomfortable. But here is it. It is. America does not owe you success. Now, before you get mad at me that after all, I'm supposed to be an immigration lawyer helping you, why am I talking like this? So before you start clipping me with that statement or start a social media war against me, let me explain what I mean. America owes you the opportunity to pursue success. America does not owe you success itself. There's a big difference, a very, very big difference. You see, one of the reasons millions of people come to America every year is because America remains one of the greatest country or one of the greatest opportunity machines that has ever been created. I know we all love to hate America. We all love to talk about the bad stuff here, the guns, the Donald Trump, all that stuff. But the truth of the matter is that many people come here, are still fighting to come here, despite all those negatives you read about on social media, because America remains one of the greatest opportunity machines ever created. People come here with dreams. People come here with ambition. People come here with hope. People come here because they believe they can build a better future. And many of them do. But somewhere along the way, some people begin to confuse opportunity with entitlement. They begin to believe that because they came to America, success should automatically follow just because they got a visa, just because they got a green card, or just because they became US citizens. Or, like some will say, just because they work hard, going to work every morning, 6 a.m., come rain, come snow. My friends, if you are listening to this, maybe in America, or you're planning to come here, just in case you are not yet here or you are too new here to have figured it out already, because everybody figures it out eventually. That's not how this country works. America will give you a chance. But what to do with that chance is up to you. I remember when I first entered America myself in 1995. You know, you have been hearing also, although America is not this hard then, but you hear all sorts about America. So when I got in at JFK, and then I went through the immigration section, and then they checked my papers, they asked me a few questions, and after I answered, then the man gave me back my passport. He said, "Welcome to America." Then, of course, I'm talking about this is 31 years ago. So I said, so okay, what next now? What do I do now? The man, I can never forget his words. He's a black American immigration officer. He said, whatever the heck you want. That blew me away. That's what the man said to me. I said, what do I do now? It's like you're in America. Whatever the heck you want. And then he faced back and turned to the other guy. that was waiting in line. That is the America I fell in love with. It will give you a chance. Allows you to do whatever you want to do as long as it's within the law. They allow you to do that. Most countries in the world don't do that. Forget what they are saying about America today. But what to do with that chance is up to you. Nobody owes you a thriving business. Nobody owes you a financial freedom. Nobody owes you wealth. Nobody owes you a great career. Nobody owes you a comfortable retirement. Even most companies here don't do any retirement for you. You're on your own. Those things have to be built. And that is where many people get stuck. Immigrants like me, like you watching this right now. They spend years complaining about what America has not given them. Meanwhile, they never ask themselves, what value am I creating in America? What skills am I developing? What opportunities am I pursuing? Because if you come in and you are bagging at Walmart, or you start out with CNA, which is where everybody starts, but you are not trying to grow yourself, to grow out of that circle, to upgrade yourself, to upgrade your skills, you can do 30 years in that Walmart bagging or as a CNA, and that's where you die. Nobody's going to promote you. They don't care. You have to ask yourself, what value am I creating? You start at the CNA, you must be thinking I must go to LPN, you must be thinking I must go to RN, you must be thinking I must go to BSN. Because the more you create value, the more America rewards you. You have to ask yourself, what skills am I developing? What opportunities am I pursuing? What problems am I solving? They don't care what you were before you came here. I came to America already having 3 degrees in law. I already had a master's degree. I'd already run a finance company that had more than 100 staff. But they don't care. My first job was as a telemarketer. $7 an hour trying to sell AT&T phones on the phone. But what opportunity are you creating? Within 6 months, I got my sheets together. I went to study for the bar in New York. I got my license. I started growing. Some of those that we used to do telemarketing together, I still ran into one of them 4 years ago. That is more than 25 years. He was still doing telemarketing job in a whole different company, but still doing the same work that we were doing 25 years ago. Yet he came to this country with a degree. He was not asking, what skills am I developing to go to the next level? What opportunities am I pursuing? What problems am I solving? Because that's how success is built in America. Don't let anybody deceive you. Not through complaints about Donald Trump, not through excuses, not through waiting, not through it's only through action. It is only through learning. It is only through discipline. It is only through persistence. And let me tell you something that I've observed after many years in America. The immigrants who succeed the most are often not the ones who arrived with the most advantages. They are the ones who took responsibility for their future. They understood that America has opened the door, but they had to work through it. They had to do the work. They had to build business. They had to earn the degree. They had to learn the skills. They had to save the money. They had to create opportunities. And that's why I say something that may sound very blunt, but it's true. America issued you and I an opportunity, not a promise. A promise will guarantee the outcome, but an opportunity only gives you a chance. And that chance is precious, very precious, whether you have your green card now or not. Because there are billions of people around the world who would love to have the opportunities many of us take for granted in America. They may say all they want in Nigeria, in Ghana, in South Africa, wherever they are, that America is shit, who wants to go to America is a lie. Give them an opportunity for a visa, they will sell their mother to get that visa. At least 90% of them. Many are looking for the opportunity that you have right now. Forget that you don't have your green card yet. They will take it any day. So you can't be feeling sorry for yourself because you are still trying to sort your papers out. America don't care about that. The ability to start a business, the ability to own property, the ability to build credit, which I didn't know anything about when I first came, and I paid the price many, many years after. The ability to access education, the ability to reinvent yourself, the ability to dream bigger than where you started. Those opportunities are real, but they still require an effort. They require sacrifice. They require responsibility. So tonight, as a Rottweiler, as somebody who's dedicated to helping as many immigrants as possible achieve the American dreams without the nightmare, I'm telling you, instead of asking, why hasn't America given me what I want? You have to ask yourself, what am I doing with the opportunities America has already given me? And exploring many of those opportunities has got nothing to do with your status. It's just an excuse for most of us. Oh, I don't have my green card yet. Oh, I don't have my work permit yet. So they give themselves permission to be mediocre. But you have to ask it. What am I doing with the opportunities America has already given me? Because that's where the real conversation begins, not on paper. That's where success begins, not on the green card. And that's where transformation begins. So my friends, paper or no paper, understand this: America doesn't owe you success, but it may give you the opportunity to earn it. And for those willing to do the work, that opportunity can change not only your life, but the lives of your children and grandchildren. Think about that. Think about that. When we come back, of course, we're going to discuss the latest immigration developments and answer your immigration questions right here on the Immigrant Survival Show. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Our show is not just about getting you papers. It's about getting to be the perfect or the best immigrant in America that you can be. So sometimes we're going to be talking about things that's going to do with immigration papers. At some point, I'm going to be talking about how to build credit for survival in America. Because credit is your life. Many of us don't know that when we first come. And many squander opportunities. I did. I squandered opportunities because I didn't know the value of building a personal credit. Because America is a place where you can borrow $1 million without having one security if your credit is good. Nobody taught me that when I first came. And those two learned that early. Paper or no paper, they move ahead so fast that they will make your head swim. Not to now talk about you have your papers, you have your green card. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the spate of divorces that is happening in America, where a marriage comes from Africa to America, and within a few years, they are struggling and they are ending up in divorce because the transplantation of the marriage, they are doing it without the context of America. We're going to talk a lot about that. And I know a lot about that, both as a pastor and as somebody who has lived here for 31 years. I know what America does to your marriage, and you need to know how to divorce-proof it if you want to achieve the American dream without the nightmare. And we're going to talk about a lot of other stuff on this show over the next 30 days. It's an immigrant survival marathon, not just about immigration papers, even though that's what I represent, but about being the best immigrant that we can be. We're going to talk about how to raise your children in America, even though they are African children. You can't raise your African children in America like African children. You are setting them up for failure. And a lot of us are doing that. See, so don't go away. Today, we are going to have fun. When I come back, we will talk about the new immigration developments and what it means for you and what to do about it before we finally go into the Q&A for today. As a matter of fact, because sometimes America forgets about greatness, about the greatness of some of our people. I'm talking about people from Europe, people from the Far East. I'm talking about the Chinese. I'm talking about the Africans who have contributed a great deal to this country. We decided, my law firm decided to sponsor a documentary series that will showcase the best of the immigrants that have come to America and how they help to build this America, to remind all of us as immigrants that we matter, and to remind also those who are born in America to understand that America was also built in partnership with immigrants. We played a part in developing the culture, the music, the education, the science, the finance, all of that you're going to see in this amazing documentary that I just commissioned that will celebrate. We call it the Immigrant a Wall of Fame, where we celebrate the very best of immigrants who have come to America. And today, I'm going to debut it with one of us, an immigrant from the Latin American country who actually contributed a lot to the culture of music here. Don't go away.
Banwo Law and Eisen proudly present the USA Immigrant Hall of Fame, celebrating remarkable immigrants who came to America, overcame adversity, achieved greatness, and helped shape the greatest nation on earth. Their journey, their sacrifice, their legacy.
Stepping close, heel mark on the floor. Hands up, then you bounce. Feel that wave take over. Your dress makes sparks when you spin that way. I see the whole room turn when you say my name. 1, 2, 3,
Before the world knew her voice, before the stadiums, before the Super Bowl, before millions screamed her name, there was only a little girl in Barranquilla, dancing barefoot, dreaming impossible dreams. A daughter of immigrants herself, born into a Lebanese-Colombian family, carrying rhythm in her blood and hunger in her soul. And one day, that little girl left Colombia for America, not knowing she would one day make the entire world dance. Shakira was born in 1977 in Barranquilla, a vibrant Caribbean city on Colombia's northern coast. Her father, William Mebarak Chadid, was of Lebanese descent. Her mother, Nidia Ripoll, was Colombian. Inside their modest home, cultures blended beautifully: Arabic rhythms, Latin melodies, poetry, storytelling, dance. She attended Catholic school at La Enseñanza School in Barranquilla, where teachers quickly noticed something unusual about the shy little girl. She wrote songs at age 8, but not everyone believed in her. Legend says she was rejected from the school choir because her voice sounded too strange, too different, too unique, too unusual. But sometimes, greatness first appears as something the world doesn't yet understand. Inspired by her Lebanese roots, she discovered dance early. Music became escape. Dance became identity. Performance became survival. And deep inside that little girl from Barranquilla, there was already a dream too big for the streets around her.
Flight SQ318 to Manila, now boarding at gate B32.
By the late 1990s, Shakira was already famous in Latin America, but America was different. The American music industry demanded reinvention. She moved into the high-pressure entertainment world of Miami, Florida, where language barriers, cultural expectations, and industry politics crushed many immigrant dreams. Shakira barely spoke English fluently, so she taught herself. She studied English by reading dictionaries, analyzing songs, rewriting lyrics line by line. She once admitted she learned songwriting in English by studying Leonard Cohen, Bob Dylan, and Walt Whitman poetry. Imagine the pressure. An immigrant woman, with an accent, trying to conquer America's toughest entertainment industry. Failure would have been easy, but immigrant hunger is a dangerous thing. Then came 2001. The album, Laundry Service, Whenever, Wherever, music video clips. And suddenly, America could not stop listening. Whenever, Wherever exploded globally. Then came hit after hit, Underneath Your Clothes, She-wolf, waka waka, hips don't lie. The immigrant girl from Barranquilla became one of the most recognized entertainers on earth. She won Grammy Awards, dominated MTV, performed for World Cup audiences numbering in the billions, and in 2020, she stood on one of America's biggest stages, the Super Bowl halftime show. A Latina immigrant woman, once rejected for sounding different, now leading one of the most watched performances in American television history. That is the power of immigrant dreams. Shakira didn't just become famous, she changed culture. She helped make Latin music truly global. She carried her accent proudly. She fused Arabic dance, Colombian rhythm, and American pop culture into something the world had never seen before. She opened doors for countless Latina artists who came after her, and she reminded America of something powerful. Immigrants do not weaken culture. They expand it. They bring rhythm, flavor, innovation, beauty, energy, and new possibilities. But perhaps Shakira's greatest achievement was never fame. It was remembering where she came from. Through her Pais Descalzos Foundation, she helped build schools and educational opportunities for poor children across Colombia. Because she never forgot the little girl she once was. Today, Shakira stands not only as a superstar, but as a symbol of Latina empowerment, immigrant resilience, and global possibility. Somewhere tonight, another little immigrant girl is dancing in a tiny apartment. Maybe people don't understand her yet. Maybe her accent sounds different. Maybe the world still doubts, but inside her may live another revolution, another voice, another dream, powerful enough to make the whole world dance. And America becomes greater every time it gives those dreams a chance. This tribute to immigrant greatness is brought to you by the American Immigrant Support and Empowerment Network, AISEN, and sponsored by Banwo Law and Associates, helping immigrants achieve the American dream without the nightmares.
Alrighty, hope you guys enjoyed that amazing tribute to Shakira, one of the greatest immigrants that ever lived in America, helping to build culture. And we're going to be coming with Albert Einstein, people even forgot were immigrants. The most intelligent man that ever lived, right, with the highest IQ. We're going to be talking about Elon Musk. We're going to be talking about Akim the Dream, who changed the NBA. We're going to be talking about Emeka Enegwali, the man who invented the internet, a Nigerian guy. And we're going to be talking about people from all over the world who came in here and made America better by being here. So that when people are saying immigrants are just a drain on American resources, we have to keep reminding them that that immigrants help to build this America itself. Stay with us. Over the next few days, we have several of them that we're going to be bringing out. Tribute for that beautiful documentary was done by one of my students, Joanna Isua, is the one that created that wonderful video. If you need videos created for you, talk to me. I'll hook you up with Joanna. It's one of the greatest in the business. All right, back to the talk of today. After all, we are here for Immigrant Survival Show. It's all about immigrants and how immigrants can achieve the American dreams without a nightmare. So let's go to the updates for today. Every new day in America, a whole new update. You wake up in the morning and something has changed. Many times we lawyers, we hear about the changes even from our clients. Because while you are still sleeping in the bed, the client has woken up and internet is blowing up because something has happened. And then they call us, what do you think? And we also have to go check it out before we can give advice. So what are the latest updates I want to share today? Maybe 2 or 3 of them. Because we want to be sharing updates that are still very current, that happened today, yesterday, or day before. So the first one, I think this is good news, because on this show, we don't want to focus only on the bad news that affects immigrants. We also want to talk about some of the good things that are happening. Everybody woke up today to hear that a federal judge has stricken down Donald Trump's $100,000 H-1B visa fee. It felt like an impossibility or a dream just a few months ago when the Donald Trump government came out and said, for you to have to be able to hire somebody in the H-1B category now, you have to pay an extra $100,000 fee to the government. The fee for this thing used to be less than $2,000. It used to be less than $1,000 just 2 years ago. And Trump just slammed $100,000 on it. And of course, immigration lawyers like us, I wasn't on this case, but I know a lot of immigration lawyers all over the country. Some decided they're going to go to court and they're going to challenge it. So in a major victory for employers and highly skilled immigrant workers, a federal judge has struck down a proposed $100,000 fee that the Trump administration sought to impose on certain new H-1B petitions. The court ruled that the fee amounted to an unlawful tax, which is what some of us have been saying, because Congress never authorized the executive branch to impose such a massive charge on employers seeking to hire foreign talent. So this judge said, no, this thing is illegal. Why does this matter? The H-1B visa program allows U.S. companies to hire highly skilled foreign professionals in fields such as technology, engineering, healthcare, finance, research, law, education. If they had continued charging this fee, many employers would have been priced out of the H-1B system. How many medium or small employers can afford $100,000 just to be able to bring in a worker from abroad? And this will potentially reduce opportunities for skilled immigrants seeking to work legally in the U.S. Because since he imposed this, a lot of people who have been looking at filing H-1B, they've had to calm down with ambition. A lot of companies that will have employed graduates from graduate immigrants had to suspend it because they don't have the $100,000 fee. So that was directly affecting immigration of immigrants into America. So here is my take. The judge's decision reinforced an important principle. Immigration agencies cannot simply create new taxes or create massive fees without congressional approval. So regardless of where you stand politically, I know that we all have there are some who support Republicans, some who support Democrats, and some who don't care about either. But regardless of where you stand, this ruling is a reminder that immigration policy is not determined only by who is the president. Congress writes the laws. Federal agencies implement the laws. And when federal courts decide that, when government officials, when federal courts look at everything and they decide when government officials have exceeded their legal authority. So for immigrants and employers, this decision preserves access to one of America's most important pathways for attracting global talent. And I'm so excited about it, just hearing this today. The bigger lesson is this, of course. Not every immigration policy announcement becomes permanent law. Sometimes the court step in and say, not so fast. So if you are pursuing an H-1B visa, or you are sponsoring employees as a company in America who wants to bring in people from abroad, or you are considering employment-related immigration options, which is one of my specialties, this development is worth celebrating and monitoring closely. Of course, this may not be the end of it. The federal judge has ruled, but we don't know whether Donald Trump is going to appeal, as he always does, to the Supreme Court, and we don't know what they will rule. But for now, the judge has ruled that that fee is illegal, and that is worth celebrating if you're an immigrant or even an American who believes that skilled immigrants actually help build this country, not bring it down. That's the first update for today. The second update This one is not so good news, but we got to take the good with the bad. Today we are hearing, I think this happened a couple of days ago, I think on Thursday or Friday is when this came out. The Central African Republic, the traitor country, has now agreed to accept USA deportees from other nations. They have now joined other African countries, including Ghana, Sierra Leone, Guinea, Congo, in accepting immigrants from other countries, which we never thought this will ever happen in our lifetime. According to reports, and I got this, I think, on Thursday, on the 4th, the Central African Republic has agreed to accept certain migrants who are deported from the US, even when those migrants are not citizens of Central African Republic. If you have been following, this is part of a growing strategy by the Trump administration to negotiate agreements with third countries willing to receive deportees whom the US may be unable or unwilling to return directly to their own countries. Now they are working arrangements with third-party countries to deport you there. Reports indicate that similar arrangements have already been done with Ghana, Sierra Leone, Equatorial Guinea, Democratic Republic of Congo, and many other countries in the Latin American countries. So why does this matter? Traditionally, deported immigrants are returned to their country of citizenship. But under these newer arrangements, some individuals could potentially be removed to countries where they never lived, have no family connections, where they do not speak the language, and may have no support system whatsoever. And critics, I try to stay in the middle of all of this because I have a job to do for immigrants, so I'm not over vocal in fighting government. But critics argue that these agreements may undermine protections previously granted by the US immigration courts, while supporters argue they help government remove individuals whose own countries refuse to accept them. So the matter, of course, is still being debated in the courts. People have gone to court over it. So here's my own take as an immigration Rottweiler on this. This is one of the most significant developments in immigration enforcement that many immigrants are not paying attention to. For years, some individuals believe that if their own country refuses to accept them, then deportation might be difficult, if not impossible, for American immigration. And the US government is increasingly looking for ways around that obstacle. And the message from Washington right now, at least from the same way with the Washington of today, appears very clear. If we cannot send you back to country A, then we may look for country B to take you. Now, whether these arrangements ultimately survive legal challenges remains to be seen. It is being challenged right now. But immigrants with removal orders or those in removal proceedings should understand that the enforcement landscape is changing rapidly. The old assumptions about what can and cannot happen in deportation cases may no longer apply, so that's why you need a lawyer. If you are currently in removal proceedings or have a final order of removal, this is not the time for you to play around. This is not the time to ignore your case. It is time to understand your legal options and stay informed with shows like this and other shows like mine about the rapidly evolving enforcement policies, and make sure you get lawyers who can make effective federal challenges to your case. We already have several cases in federal court to prevent immigration from taking our clients to a country that is not their own, because we know federal court will intervene in these things. So you want to get a lawyer, you don't want to wait until they carry you as a Nigerian and can go and drop in the Central African Republic, or somebody from Korea, and then they carry you and go and drop you in Ghana. You want to make sure you get the right lawyers, where once immigration start tending toward that, you want to quickly file a federal case to stop them from taking you to a country that you don't know. There are always options. There is always ways to tackle immigration on these things if you are proactive. You don't wait until it is happened before you start crying. You don't wait until a judge has given that order. The minute you hear, you get your lawyer to go to federal court, and you stop it right there, and you guys start to battle it from there. That is update number 2 of the day. A third update that I'd like to share before we go to your Q&A for today is there's a new bill out there. And I think this bill has been there for a while, but we finally figured it out. It's been there for a few weeks, or maybe 1 week, where they are seeking to end this H-1B. They are really after it. They are seeking to end H-1B pathway to green card. And that is even a much more serious danger than even the 100,000 fee they try to impose that the state has now stopped. On June 4th, which is last week Thursday, Republican Congressman Chip Roy, that's his name, Chip Roy, introduced a sweeping bill in the U.S. House of Representatives just 3 days ago that, if it's enacted, will fundamentally transform the H-1B visa program as many of us know it today. The bill, which is titled, this Chip Roy bill, is titled the American White Collar Jobs Act. And it is designed to end the H-1B visa's long-standing role as a pathway to green card in the U.S., permanent residency. That bill is seeking to stop that. The bill also wants to introduce a series of other significant restrictions on how the H-1B program operates. If you don't know what the H-1B is, you start Googling. That is one of the best ways to get people with university degrees or those with long experience into America. They're trying to, and from there, you can use it to get your green card. They're trying to stop that. So some of the provisions in the bill, from the little I've been able to read of it, not little, I had to print it out and read for myself. It wants to end H-1B visa as a pathway to a green card. So it will eliminate the ability of H-1B holders to pursue permanent residency while working in the U.S. The bill now wants to require H-1B applicants to maintain a residence abroad and demonstrate that they do not intend to abandon it before they will get H-1B visa. Now, this is effectively reversing the long-standing dual intent policy that has allowed H-1B visa holders to simultaneously work on a temporary visa and pursue a green card at the same time. Because before this bill was introduced, H-1B is one of those type of visas that allows you to have what is called dual intent, meaning you can have an intent to work temporarily and also an intent to be here permanently. Normally, you are not allowed to have a permanent intent where you are asking for a temporary visa. They will deny it. That's why a lot of F1 visas have been denied. A lot of B1, B2 visas have been denied because they ask you to prove that you have a resident in your country that you do not intend to abandon. But that has not applied to H-1B before. Now they are trying to apply it to it. And even worse, they want to repeal provisions that allow H-1B holders to extend their visa status beyond 6 years while waiting for their green card. And if they get away with this change, it will be devastating to hundreds of thousands of workers, particularly those from India, who are currently stuck in the employment-based green card backlog. You know, India is one of those countries, not only do they have 1 billion people there, they have a lot of a lot of people who are graduates who are using this H-1B to be able to stay here and to also be able to turn it to a green card. So it's going to affect thousands of them. And workers from other countries like Ghana, Nigeria, where lots of people come from there, have a university degree already, and who got an H-1B, knowing that they can convert that H-1B later down the road into a green card. This bill also wants to, that the maximum, right now, the maximum you can have on H-1B is 6 years. But this Roy bill wants to reduce it to only 2 years. In other words, that you can only work in H-1B status for 2 years. It's crazy, isn't it? Worse about this bill. It wants to replace the current lottery-based system. Because now, for you to, when you apply for H-1B, they put everybody who puts an application together into a lottery, and based on that, they pick the number for the year, 60,000 or 45,000, depending on the year that they want to allow to get H-1B. They say they want to stop that, and they want to replace it with a salary-based system that will prioritize higher earning applicants. The system they have before, whatever you are getting as salary does not matter as long as your name is pulled out from the lottery. But now they're saying no, that they are going to prioritize the little visa numbers they have for higher earning applicants. And then they cut out those who are not earning very high salaries. Worse, is he coming? This same bill wants to cancel optional practical training, the OPT program, which currently allows international students to work in the US for a limited period after they have graduated. They want to take that away. What does this mean for visa holders? If this is passed, those currently on H-1B visas who are waiting for their green card based on that, it will be catastrophic. Removing the extension option will force many immigrants to leave the country before their green cards are approved, effectively wiping out years of investment in their immigration process. Some of them have invested a lot of money and time in the immigration process. Of course, thankfully, the bill faces an uphill battle in Congress. We all know that the Republicans control the House by a narrow margin, and we think, or that's what I think, that the bill is unlikely to attract bipartisan support. So it may not be as bad as it first looked. However, the introduction of this legislation reflects a broader trend of where they are trying to restrict legal immigration pathways. And I want to encourage H-1B holders to monitor its progress carefully and begin to take some proactive action. If you are currently on H-1B status with a pending I-140 or waiting for priority date to be current, consult an immigration attorney in your area immediately. Or you can consult us. We represent clients nationwide. It don't matter whether you call us, but call somebody. Consult an immigration attorney immediately to discover how, if this is passed, how it could affect your own timeline. Because you have something in the offing, you have something in the fire. So get a lawyer to start to break it down for you. Number two, don't panic. This is a proposed bill, not yet law, because I know social media is already carrying it. The law has not yet been passed. It's still a proposed bill, so don't panic yet. But it signals the direction of policy discussions around H-1B visa. So you just monitor it and begin to look at your options now. How you can rotate yourself out of the H-1B process in case they pass the law. That's why they say a pre-announced war does not catch a cripple unawares. Start moving, start doing stuff. You need to begin exploring alternative immigration pathways that do not depend solely on employer-sponsored H-1B status. This is where I tell some of those who have done consultation with me, you better start be looking at EB1 extraordinary ability categories, look at the EB2 outstanding workers, look at national interest waiver EB2s, look at the O1 visas. Those are options that are out there now that you can begin to look at possibly transitioning yourself to. If you're an international student on OPT, understand that this benefit could be eliminated by future legislation anytime they pass this. So you need to start building contingency plans for your survival as an immigrant. And I want to encourage every immigrant, contact your congressional representatives if you believe that this legislation will harm you. Advocacy and public engagement in a respectful way remain legitimate tools in immigration policy discussions. So this is not you demonstrating against America. This is not you hating America. This is you putting pressure on your congressional representatives to speak up for you if you believe that this legislation could harm you, so that they don't vote for it. And immigrant organizations should be looking at this, and I'm sure they are. Here is a take-home message. The H-1B visa has been the backbone of skilled immigration to the US for nearly 4 decades. For almost 40 years, the H-1 visa is it for skilled workers. So the introduction of this bill is a serious signal that even legal employer-sponsored immigration pathways are under pressure, not just people with criminal records now. So every H-1B visa holder in America today must be more strategic, more informed, and legally prepared than ever before. Those are the updates I want to share with you today. The good and the bad and the ugly. We got to go through the whole thing. And hopefully, as you are listening to them, you are not just hearing and moving away. If you are an immigrant or an intending immigrant, you begin to ask the right question. You begin to seek out immigration lawyers that will know better to talk to you about how this will apply to you personally. Of course, you can always book a consultation call with me anywhere you are in the world. Just simply go to speakwithope.com. Speakwithope.com or banwolaw.net/consultation. banwolaw.net/consultation. Any of those will get you booked to have a one-on-one discussion with me about how this applies to you personally. Or you can call any of the many immigration attorneys that are all over the nation. I'm not insisting that you have to call me. No, get a competent lawyer to talk to you. What you cannot do is just sit down and be praying that this will not pass. This is a war that has been declared on you in advance. You need to start moving before the war gets to your doorstep or before the immigration knocks on your door. When we come back, now we will take the questions from the audience. For over an hour, we're going to be taking your questions from home. And if you have any questions for me, please put it in the chat now so that we can answer your question live for free. That's the whole idea about this 30-day Immigrant Survivor Show. We want to come on air every day and answer your questions to the best of our ability without charging you a dime. And hopefully you can learn from my answers to different questions that others have asked, just in case it applies to your personal situation. So when we come back, we will take your questions one by one. But before then, there are some questions I've even pre-answered on video that I want you to watch so that I can drink some water and then we come back to the live Q&A. Here we go. Someone just posted this question. I came to the US illegally and I've been told there is no way to fix my papers without going back home. Is that correct? My short answer, as usual, sometimes yes, but not always. My name is Ope Banwo, and for over 29 years, I've been helping immigrants achieve their American dreams without the nightmares. See, entering the US without inspection creates a major immigration hurdle. And in many cases, it does not mean you cannot adjust status inside the US, but that is not the full story. There are situations where people may still have options to remain in the US while fixing their papers, or at least prepare properly before leaving the country to go get it at the embassy abroad. Let me give you a few real-life examples to clarify this. A scenario, someone who entered illegally but later married a US citizen may still have a path, but often requires consular processing and possibly a waiver before leaving. Another scenario, someone who qualifies under parole in place, what is called PIP, especially through a US military family member, may be able to adjust in the US without having to leave the country. Another scenario, possibly someone who is protected under certain humanitarian programs like VAWA or Use Visa or Asylum, may be able to move forward without departing the country. The key thing to note here is this: illegal entry makes the process harder, and that's the truth. But it does not always mean your only option is to leave blindly. And living without a strategy can trigger serious bars that keep you out of America for years, if not forever. So before you pack your bags, thinking that's your only solution, make sure you understand your options very clearly. Please book an appointment at speakwithope.com for us to have a strategy discussion about your situation. Let's talk today before your American immigration dream turns into a nightmare.
My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Not because I bark, not because I make noise, but because I don't let go. When your case gets tough, when the system pushes back, when others start telling you there is nothing we can do, that's when you call me. Because once I lock into your case, I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down until we get results. So go book a consultation on speakwithope.com now, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode on your case before the immigration knocks on your door. Someone posted this. I was arrested, but my case was dismissed. Will immigration still hold it against me? My short answer, yes, it can still matter. But first, my name is Ope Banwo, and for over 29 years, I've been helping immigrants achieve their American dreams without the nightmares. Many people believe that once a criminal case is dismissed, it disappears completely. I know, but immigration law does not always see it that way. Immigration looks at the full history, not just the final outcome in criminal court. Let me give you a few real-life examples. Say someone is arrested, and even though the case is dismissed, the record of the arrest still exists and may come up during background checks and cause problems in your immigration case. Another scenario, someone makes statements or signs documents during the arrest process that would later create issues in immigration law, even if the case never went forward. Another scenario, somebody has multiple arrests, all of them dismissed. But immigration can still look at the pattern and raise questions about credibility or admissibility. So the key point is this. Dismiss does not always mean invisible. And immigration officers may still review what happened, not just how it ended, and use it against you. That is why it is important to understand your criminal history, even dismissed cases. You need to understand how they interact with your present immigration case. If you've ever been arrested and you are now trying to fix your status, do not assume that it will not matter just because you are not convicted. Go to speakwithope.com now and book a strategy consultation session. Speak to me today before your immigration dream turns into a nightmare. It matters. I knew I could apply for asylum, but everyone around me kept saying the same thing. Don't show up. If you go there, they will deport you. This was 1995. There was no internet, no easy way to research the law for myself. So like many immigrants today, though they have internet, I was forced to rely on rumors, fear, and bad advice. For months, I lived in hiding. I had law degrees, 3 of them, years of professional experience, and a very strong record of political activism. Yet, there I was in America, afraid to step aside, unable to work legally, wondering if I had made the worst mistake of my life. At some point, I seriously considered going back to Nigeria and simply taking my chances with the military government that had been hunting me. Then one morning I woke up and asked myself a very simple question. Ope, are you going to live the rest of your life in fear? There and then, I decided that whatever will happen, I will face it. So I went to the immigration office in downtown New York and asked for the asylum application. 2 weeks later, I received a letter summoning me for an immigration interview. Pandemonium broke out. Everyone around me told me not to go. Yes, everybody was afraid for me. They begged me not to go. They said it was a trap. But I'd made up my mind. I'd made my decision. So I showed up. I told my story. I showed the asylum officer the newspaper articles documenting my persecution. and the wanted notices that soldiers had posted on my door back home that my wife had graciously sent to me by courier before the interview. A few weeks later, after that interview, I received a letter in the mail. My asylum had been granted. Overnight, my life changed from fear to hope. Suddenly, the same people who had warned me not to go were now asking me to help them fill out their immigration papers.
All right, that's just a part of my own personal testimony. If you go to our website, if you go to our YouTube channel, Banwo Law YouTube channel, you will see the full story there. It's a long one about I went through what I went through before becoming what I became in America. And I gave that full account, honest account about everything that happened to me to be able to encourage some of you out there that your dreams does not have to become a nightmare. Just be proactive. If you have a story to tell, America will listen to your story. And if your story meets their requirements, they will let you stay here. And there are many other ways you can come to America beyond just an asylum, but just in case you are not being persecuted where you are coming from. You don't need to force the issue. You don't need to lie. There are many other areas of immigration that you can go that can help you to stay here. The important thing is for you to be proactive. Get a good lawyer that knows what he's doing. Let them research your case for you and help you turn your American dream into a reality. Now, let's get into the questions for today. Since many of you, that's really what you really want. You want answers to your questions that you have been asking, and we're going to go straight to it right away. So the first question we're going to treat tonight, because we like to put the questions on the screen so that you can see it, and hopefully it can also help you in your own case, in case you have a similar story to it, and it probably can save you paying some consultation money. Jay says, my marriage ended before my green card interview. I have strong evidence of our marriage, that our marriage was genuine. Should I attend the interview, and can an attorney go with me? This is a very serious situation, and I'm glad, Jay, that you are asking it seriously rather than trying to navigate this alone. There's nothing more terrifying than getting a letter to come for interview for whatever you filed for if you don't have a backbone or back support. So first, the fact that you have evidence to prove that your marriage was entered into in good faith is critical. USCIS does not automatically deny a green card application simply because a marriage ended in a divorce. What USCIS cares about is whether the marriage was genuine at the time it was entered into, not whether it lasted forever. Many marriages end up in breakdowns here in America too. They understand that. What they want to know is whether the marriage was genuine as at the time that you entered into it, and anything could happen after. So you need to arrive at that interview with strong documentary evidence showing that your marriage was real. That is very important. This includes items such as joint bank account statements, lists in both your names or mortgage documents showing that you guys have a shared address, photos of your life together, communication records, even chats on WhatsApp, even chats by email. Very important, you print them out. Natural conversations that you have on WhatsApp, on by text, very important to show the genuineness of your marriage. Evidence of shared finances is also something they look at very strongly. That if your marriage is genuine, typically you will share some finances together. Your insurance documents, is your husband or wife on your insurance? That's part of what they look at to see whether your marriage is genuine. And you need to also go there with other records that demonstrate you lived as a married couple in good faith. When you're having a birthday party, or you have a birthday dinner, or just playing around in the house, you need to document this. I know it sounds weird. While typical marriages, you and your wife are not playing around the house and start taking pictures. But in immigration of today, they want to see pictures of stuff like that. So you just have to be alive to that, understand that you have to document your shared married life together. Despite the fact that maybe ordinary couples don't go and start taking pictures of themselves when they're in the bathroom or when they're watching TV. But you're the one that is trying to come to another man's country. You need to document your marriage well, because it is only documents that will show them whether your marriage was real or not. They're not in your house. They don't know who you are. As far as they are concerned, a lot of people are trying to lie to them. So documents is all you are going to need to show them your marriage is real. Having gotten all of that together, I must also be very frank with you. Navigating a green card interview today, especially after a divorce, is complex. Immigration officers will probe the circumstances of that divorce, your relationship history, and whether they believe that marriage was genuine originally, not now that everything has now fallen apart. So having an immigration attorney present at the interview, or at a minimum, getting one to thoroughly prepare you beforehand, is not optional in your situation. I'll be honest with you. I'll be happy to represent you, but I don't have to be the one. It is essential for you to get an immigration lawyer to help you. Don't be penny wise, pound foolish. It's a complex thing. So what's your takeaway here, Jay? My advice, do not walk into that interview without an attorney by your side. And there are immigration attorneys everywhere. You should be able to find one that you can afford. The evidence matters, but so does how you present it and how you respond to the officer's questions. A qualified immigration attorney can prepare you for the specific questions likely to be asked and to help you organize your evidence for maximum effect. This is not the age of do it yourself. I'm married to an American citizen, so they will give me a green card. No. I have seen and heard of instances where even they had kids for each other. A marriage where there are 2 children born to the man from the girl, and they are still denied. Because the fact that you have a children, or your name is on the birth certificates of children, does not automatically mean your marriage was genuine when you entered into it. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the immigration you are dealing with today. So you need a lawyer to help you make sure you marshal your documents and help you do some kind of a mock interview so that you have an idea what you are going there to face. It's not just enough to say, I love my husband or I love my wife, and you guys are holding yourself before immigration and kissing yourself before them. We've seen all of that before, and immigration has seen it. That does not move them. What moves them is your documentation, your ability to answer the questions they're going to ask you, and if possible, they want to see all of that, regardless of all the other drama going on in your life. Hopefully, you understand that. Your bottom line is, please go get a lawyer. I don't know where you live. I don't know. You say you're in Seattle, Washington. Okay, if you don't want to use a long-distance lawyer, there are lawyers in Seattle, Washington that will help you. Even though many immigration lawyers like me represent clients nationwide, but you want to go with the lawyer that you're comfortable with in terms of being able to go to this interview. Good luck. Let's go to the next question here. The next question here, let me see. My screen is starting to freeze up. I hope you guys can still hear me well. Let's look for the question 2 here. That's Gift from Texas. What happens after an immigration judge terminates removal proceedings without prejudice? What happens when an immigration judge terminates your case or terminates your removal proceedings without prejudice? See, when an immigration judge terminates your proceedings, your removal proceedings without prejudice, what that means is that the government's case to remove you from the US has been stopped for now, but it has not been permanently closed. This is important. The key phrase is without prejudice. This means the government retains the right to reinstate or refile the removal proceedings against you in the future. So the termination is not a guarantee of permanent residence from deportation. So in practical terms, termination without prejudice often occurs when there's a legal defect, maybe in the government's case, where you have obtained. It can also happen when you have obtained an immigration benefit that resolves the issue that immigration is trying to use to deport you, or when a judge finds that removal proceedings are not appropriate for your case at this time. Maybe you have married an American citizen, you have an application pending with immigration, and then they want to give immigration time to decide whether they're going to grant you your green card or not, or whether you have some other things going on that could not allow immigration to proceed or that with your immigration at that time. So immigration, the judge may then terminate it without prejudice. Now, after termination, and this is my advice to you, if you have this, if this is why you are asking, you should immediately consult with an immigration attorney, with your lawyer, especially if you have one right now, to determine your current legal status, whether any immigration benefits are now available to you, whether you can pursue adjustment of status, or whether there is any risk of proceedings being refiled. Don't assume your case is gone forever. It means immigration can bring it at any time. So you should be very proactive with your lawyer right now about asking, what can I do next? Are there ways for me to get my green card? Are there other benefits available to me now that they have terminated my case? So your takeaway here, as I like to point out for every one of the questions I answer, is termination without prejudice is a relief. Thank God for that. But that is not final victory against immigration. I've seen people become complacent when they get that, only to regret 3 years down the road when immigration finally comes for them and take them out. So don't become complacent. Work with your attorney to address whatever underlying issue existed and move towards a more stable, permanent immigrant solution. That would be my advice to you. You don't want to live your life hanging. Oh, they've dismissed the case against me without prejudice. Then one day you make a mistake, or maybe you do you run a ticket, or somebody runs your fingerprint, and then they decide they want to restart the case against you. Meanwhile, you have had years to fix your issue, but you didn't. That would not be good. So my advice, if you got that, I'm assuming that's what you got, is why you're asking, gift. You want to talk to your immigration lawyer to help you look at the next step, because the sword of Damocles is hanging over your head and you don't want them to bring it down. This is not the season that you go to bed. All righty? Let's look at the next question. Okay, bring on the third question. Put it on the screen for me. Come on, let's go. Okay, question 3. My employer is filing an H-1B for me. How important are my job title and work experience from my home country? And what if I cannot get support from past employers? Abel from San Francisco. Your previous work experience in your home country matters a lot when applying for an H-1B visa, that's no doubt. And this matters in 2 major specific ways. First, your foreign work experience can count towards meeting the educational experience requirements for the H-1B position. If you do not have a 4-year US bachelor's degree in a directly related field, then 3 years of qualifying experience, even though you don't have a degree, can substitute for 1 year of education. 3 years experience for 1 year of education. Your attorney and your employer's HR team will need to carefully document how your experience aligns with the requirements of the specialty occupation that you are being sponsored for through H-1B. This is very important. That's one of the ways the thing is very important, it's very significant, your previous experience. A second way that is very important is your job title and your duties in your home country, because they help establish whether your work qualifies as an experience in a specialty occupation is very important. So your job and your duties in your home countries matters a lot, because that's what helps you establish whether that experience that you had back home, that experience, whether it qualifies you in a specialty occupation, which is what an H-1B is. So the more directly related to your prior role, the more directly your prior role is related to the H-1B position that your employer is sponsoring you for, the stronger your case. The more what you did back home is directly related to the position that your employer is sponsoring you for, then that makes your case much more stronger. So regarding the lack of support from prior employers, that's the third part of your question. I think that one is manageable. Your work history can be established through tax records, pay stubs, employment contracts. These are all stuff that you will have, regardless of whether the employer is there for you or not. You're going to have your tax records, your pay stubs, your employment contracts, reference letters from former colleagues, rather than the company itself, your professional membership records, and other third-party documentation that don't depend on your employer, your prior employer, to get. All of that can be established. So here is my takeaway for you, sir. Work closely with your employer's immigration lawyer to document your prior experience thoroughly and creatively. The creative way these things are documented are different from lawyer to lawyer. Hopefully, your employer's immigration attorney will have enough experience in that area to know how to help you document your prior experience thoroughly and creatively. The absence of employer support is not fatal to your case. And that's the honest truth. It simply requires finding alternative forms of credible evidence to establish your qualification. And you can do that through many things. I just mentioned several of them. Your pay stubs, your tax records, your employment contracts, your reference letters that other people that you work with, other than your company itself. All of that will establish that for you. Hopefully that helps you in putting this together. H-1B is a very delicate thing these days, especially if you're already in it and you're trying to change. That means you're trying to avoid the 100,000 thing which court has now stopped. So hopefully that helps you. The next question. Adam, he said, I landed in the USA last week. My I-94 does not have L2's mentioned. It says L2 only. Can I work without applying for Form I-765? I don't know about that, because well, there is an important distinction you need to make, and it affects your ability to work in the US. The L2S designation that you have on your I-94 specifically indicates that you are the spouse of an L2, or that, sorry, of an L1, that you are an L2 spouse with work authorization incidental to your status. That's what that L2S meant, that you are an L2 spouse with work authorization incident to your status, meaning you are authorized to work without needing to file a separate I-765 to obtain your work permit. However, if your I-94, like from what you are saying, only has L2 without the S designation after it, that may mean the officer did not specifically code your work authorization into the I-94 at entry. If all you have was L2 and not L2S, that means that guy that admitted into the country or the lady did not code work authorization into your I-94. So in that situation, the safest course of action would be to apply for an employment authorization on Form I-765 so that you can obtain a document that explicitly confirms your work authorization rather than relying on the I-94 that does not reflect L2S designation. This is very important. Working without proper authorization in the US carries serious immigration consequences. So before you begin any employment, verify this issue with an immigration lawyer who can review your entry documentation thoroughly, confirm whether the I-94 should have reflected the L2S status, and advise you on whether a correction to your L2 status is what is needed, or filing an I-765 is what is appropriate. Whatever you do, do not assume you can work based on an L2 I-94 that does not have the S designation. You have to confirm the authorization status with your attorney before you start any job, or you will create an unnecessary problem for yourself down the road. Immigration is not playing anymore. Okay, you want to be sure. If you get to I-94 on the CBP website, if it doesn't have an S after the L2, I will suggest you contact a lawyer, let him help you research it thoroughly, and then decide whether they need to apply for a correction of your I-94, or maybe you need to apply for I-765 to be able to get work authorization. So that way you get away from problems, especially when it comes to applying for green card. Because if you violate it now, when it comes to time to convert that your L1 to green card, you will not be able to do it. If they say you have worked without authorization, it starts a whole new problem that you could have avoided simply by doing it right from day one. All right, hopefully that helps you. Let's look at the next question. And if you're just joining us, of course, you are watching our Immigrant Survivor Show, day 8 of 30 days of Immigration Survivor Marathon Edition with Ope Banwo. We are using this to launch our show as well as our new office in Arlington, Texas. Every day this month of June, we're going to come out and try our best to answer as many of your questions as we can. And then from July, this show is going to transition to a weekly show where we come at you only once a week. Please post your questions in the chat. Let's answer your questions for you free of any charge right now online, where you can get our free advice for free. And of course, I like to put this disclaimer in there. The content of this show is for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute legal advice. So every immigration case is unique. So I'm talking generally. For advice specific to your situation, please consult a licensed immigration attorney so that they can help you bring these facts that I'm teaching into your personal case, because no two cases are the same in immigration. I just want to make sure I put that important disclaimer there. And as you are watching this, if you feel you would like to do a one-on-one consultation with me, please, you have to go to speakwithope.com or go to banwolaw.net/consultation. banwolaw.net/consultation, and then book your call with me so that we can look specifically into your own case and look into the facts as it applies to you. All right, moving on. When we come back, I'm going to play a couple of videos for you where I answer some of your questions on video direct so that you can learn, and then I'll drink some water and I'll be back in about 2 minutes. Enjoy. Don't go anywhere. You are watching Ope Banwo on Immigration Survivor Show, the Marathon Edition, day 8 of 30 days. All right, let's look at this one. Someone sent in this question. I use a fake social security number to work. Did I just destroy my chances forever? Short answer, not necessarily, but it can create serious complications. My name is Ope Banwo, and for over 29 years, I've been helping immigrants achieve their immigration dream without the nightmares.
Using a false social security number or identity is not a small issue in immigration. It can raise serious concerns about misrepresentation or fraud, but it does not automatically mean there is no path forward. What matters is how it was used, how it fits into your overall immigration history. Let me give a few real-life examples that may make it a bit clearer for you. Someone used a number just to work without claiming to be a U.S. citizen. This may be an issue, but it can sometimes be addressed depending on the case. Another scenario, someone falsely claimed to be a U.S. citizen on official forms. This is a much more serious problem and can create very difficult barriers. Another scenario, somebody used false documents but later qualifies through strong immigration pathway. There may still be options, but the case must be handled very carefully. And the key point in all these scenarios is this: not all mistakes are equal, but mistakes like this must be handled strategically, not ignored. If you have ever used a false social security number to work, and you are now thinking about your immigration future, do not assume your case is over or your case is settled. And do not assume it is simple either. Go to speakwithope.com and book a strategy consultation session right now. Speakwithope.com. Talk to me before your American dream turns into a nightmare. Yes, another question I've been getting a lot lately. I have a criminal record. Sir, can I still become a U.S. citizen? Short answer, sometimes yes, but it depends on the type of your case and your history with immigration. My name is Ope Banwo, and for over 29 years, I've been helping immigrants achieve their American dream without the nightmares. To become a U.S. citizen, you must show something called good moral character. That is where criminal history becomes very important. Some issues may only delay your application. Others can create serious barriers. As always, I like to give a few real-life examples to contextualize this. Scenario: somebody has a single older offense and waits the required number of years. This may still allow them to qualify depending on the facts. Another scenario: someone has a more serious conviction that falls within certain categories. This can create major obstacles or even permanent issues, even though it happened in the past. Or a scenario where somebody has multiple smaller offenses over time. Immigration may look at the pattern and question whether they meet the good moral character requirement or not. Again, the key point is this: having a record does not automatically disqualify you, but it does mean your case must be carefully evaluated before you apply for anything, because applying at the wrong time or with the wrong strategy can do more harm than good. So if you have any criminal history and you are thinking about applying for citizenship, do not assume that you are ready because you have 5 years or whatever. Go to speakwithope.com right now and book a strategy consultation session. Let's talk about this and be sure you are ready. Speak to me today before your American immigration dream turns into a bitter nightmare. The Immigrant Survival Show for millions of immigrants. America is not just a country. It is a dream of freedom, opportunity, and a better life. But behind the dream lies a system filled with confusion, fear, and life-changing consequences. One mistake can destroy everything, but the right knowledge can change everything, helping immigrants achieve the American dream without the nightmares. If you are an immigrant in America or you are abroad trying to come to America, you cannot afford to miss this show. Learn how to avoid mistakes that can destroy your case. Discover hidden pathways to adjust and protect your status. Stay ahead of immigration law change and how to prevent your American dream from becoming an American nightmare. starting now. The Immigrant Survival Show. This is where knowledge becomes power.
Alrighty, welcome back. Let's go back to the live quick Q&A. Hopefully you enjoyed and were able to learn some things from some of that, my pre-recorded answers to your questions. Now let's go back live now and treat more of the questions that we have for today. Let's take I think the 6th question scheduled for me today right here. I think, where is it? Let's have that up. My I-140 petition got rejected because of paper size on the PALM certification. Went away again. So do I have to go through the entire process again? That's Steve. It went off again. Let me work on that. Okay, please. That key keeps disappearing. Can you put it back on? My I-140 petition got rejected because of paper size on the PALM certification. And my PALM certification has expired. Which one is it now? Do I have to go through the entire process again, or can I appeal? That's an interesting one right there. I understand that this is a genuinely frustrating situation for you, Steve, but let me give you a clear picture of where things might stand with you. If your I-140 was rejected rather than denied, it typically means that immigration returned it without processing it on procedural ground, such as an issue with the supporting documentation. A rejection is technically different from a denial and does not necessarily carry the same negative implications. However, the underlying issue here is that the PALM, the labor certification, is that labor certification thing. A PALM certification must be used to file the I-140 within 180 days of being granted. Once that window passed, the PALM certification is no longer usable, and you generally cannot refile the I-140 based on that same PALM. Yeah, it's frustrating. The practical reality is that in most cases where the PALM has expired, the process does need to start all over from the PALM stage. That means the employer will need to conduct a new recruitment process. They will need to file a new PALM application with the Department of Labor. They will need to obtain a new certification and then file a new I-140. It is what it is. I wish I could tell you something different. But there's maybe one important silver lining to explore here. Depending on when your original I-140 was filed and whether you have been in the employment-based queue long enough, your lawyer should be able to evaluate whether any priority date protection or portability options exist for you. Whatever lawyer helped you with originally, you have to talk to him, okay? Whether you have been in the queue long enough, okay, and whether any priority date protection or portability options exist. So I would recommend, frankly, consult an immigration attorney immediately, especially the one for the company or the one that has been helping you. While starting over is difficult, there may be strategic options to protect whatever position you have already built in the green card queue. So don't delay, because further inaction will definitely cost you time. You know that. So this is the time. It's not the time to be saying, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week. You need to contact one right away and see whatever protection might still be out there for you. Let's take the next question here. And I like this one. I'm applying for an EB3 other workers visa. By the way, for those of us who don't know what an EB3 is, that's employment-based worker category 3. says, how should I answer the DS-260 question asking if I seek to enter US for skilled or unskilled labor without labor certification? I think this question on the DS-260 on the form is asking you whether you are seeking to enter the US to work without having a PAM labor certification from the Department of Labor or not. Since you are applying through the EB3 other workers category, which requires a PAM labor certification anyway, you need a PAM labor certification for that. You should have a certified PAM at some stage in the process. So if your PAM has already been filed by the Department of Labor and your I-140 has been approved, then I recommend you should answer no to this question, because you have in fact been certified by the Secretary of Labor through the PAM process. So you are not coming into the US without labor certification. So the answer will be no. I know it sounds a bit counterintuitive, but if for some reason your PAM has not yet been certified at the time you are completing the DS-260, I would suggest you should consult your immigration attorney before you answer this question, as the answer to this question must accurately reflect your situation and the supporting documentation you have to support it, so that you don't get yourself into any problem. So the takeaway for this question, my advice to you, is that most applicants who have completed the PAM and the I-140 process, the answer to this question will be a no. However, your immigration attorney needs to review your DS-260 thoroughly before submission to ensure that every answer is accurate and consistent with your documents. Okay? This is not a do-it-yourself type of situation anymore. If you have an immigration lawyer, you got to go back to him. If you don't have one, you need to find one. Either one locally, or you can get one through national representation. Let's look. We still have some time here. Let's look at the next question. Can I have some water, please? Duke says, I'm a licensed truck driver with a valid EAD. My employer wants to sponsor me for an EB3. Okay. Is PAM labor certification required, or can they file the I-140 without it? The simple answer is this. For EB3 other workers category, which is the category that typically will apply to those that we call unskilled or semi-skilled workers, which includes many truck drivers whose positions require less than 2 years of training. A PAM labor certification from the Department of Labor is generally required before the I-140 can be filed. There's no general exception to the PAM requirement for EB3, which I can tell you there is no general exception. Your employer cannot file the I-140 directly with immigration without first obtaining a certified PAM for you, unless your case requires a whole different category that does not require labor certification. It's possible you might have a different immigration category that you might be eligible for, such as EB1 extraordinary ability or EB2, neither of which, in all sincerity, neither of which would typically apply to a truck driver position. So regarding the concern about limited recruitment positions, the PAM process requires the employer to demonstrate that there are no qualified US workers who are available for the position. The employer will conduct a structured recruitment process to establish this. There's a structured process for doing that. So the fact that no other positions are available at the company does not affect the PAM requirement. the process must still be completed for the specific position that they are sponsoring you for. What matters is your own specific position that they want to sponsor you for, not whether there are other positions in the company that don't concern you, that doesn't affect this PAM thing. So your employer must complete the PAM process before filing the I-140. And I recommend you work with a qualified immigration attorney to begin that process promptly, because PAM processing times can be lengthy. It can be long. You just have to be patient. You have to be ready to work with an attorney who will help you through this whole long process. I hope that helps you. Let's see the next question on the horizon. Again, for those who are just joining us, you are watching Immigration Survivor Show with Ope Banwo, and we're on day 8 of our 30-day marathon Immigration Survivor Marathon Q&A, where we come in every day for a couple of hours and take your questions and then help you navigate the immigration process. And we're very broad. We cover everything for survival of immigrants in America. All right, let's take the next question here, which is the question 9 put on the board for me. It says, my I-485 has been pending for years. If I change jobs under the AC-21 and then receive my green card during my notice period, could immigration view it as fraud or create problems for me? That's George from Dallas. Let me address the fraud question directly. Receiving your green card and then leaving your employer after you did that is not by itself immigration fraud. The green card is approved based on your eligibility at the time that they made a decision, at the time of adjudication. So if you are still employed by the sponsoring employer when the decision was made and there was no misrepresentation, immigration generally does not have grounds to revoke the green card solely because you change jobs after you receive the green card. And that's not how it works. The AC-21, that rule that you quoted, I'm glad that you know about that rule, was specifically designed to give I-485, that is green card applicants, the flexibility to change jobs. So if your application for green card, your I-485, has been pending for more than 180 days, and the new job that you are getting is in the same or similar occupational classification, you can port to whatever new employer you want. So in your scenario, if you receive your green card before the AC-21 paperwork is even filed, the AC-21 process becomes mute at that point. You're already a permanent resident, so you don't need it. You're then free to work wherever you choose. That being said, timing matters like everything in immigration these days. I'm not going to advise you to resign before confirming the green card is actually approved and in process. So consult an attorney to document the job change properly, especially if there's any delay and you need to invoke your AC-21 portability. The AC-21 portability allows you to migrate to another lawyer while your case is pending, if it has been pending, as I said, for some time. So here's the takeaway for you. Changing jobs after receiving a green card is not fraud. Don't let anybody try to raise your mind and start to make you panic. The green card was approved, so you're a permanent resident. Now, leaving after you receive it without any misrepresentation is your legal right. America will not force you to work for somebody forever as a slave. So use your EAD freely while your I-45, 485 is pending. That's exactly what it's for. So you use your work permit or that you got freely while your adjustment of status is pending, because that's exactly what the work permit is for, and that is what the AC-21 is for. I hope that gives you some comfort, and if you need more clarity on how this applies personally more to you and you want more one-on-one consultation, of course, you know what to go. Go to banwolaw.net/consultation or speakwithope.com, my favorite. They will both lead you to the same place, and we can help you talk more, get into more nuances, more details of your specific case. But for now, I'm not going to panic, Duke, and don't let anybody raise your hope. Sorry, I didn't put the question on the board. Okay, that's the question I just finished answering. Okay, sorry, my people that are putting on the board, they took some time there. So let's look at the next question. It says, my I-94 expires July 3rd, but my H-1B max out is June 23. July 3rd, June 23, okay. PAM was approved June 4th, and we are waiting to file an I-140 and extension. Can I stay a week past my I-94 expiration? It's like 3-4 questions in one that I have to digest slowly here. Okay, can you stay? Bottom line is, can you stay in the USA for one more week after your I-94 has expired? You have a June 23rd max out date. Your I-94 date is July 3rd, and your PAM was approved June 4th, and you are waiting for the hard copy so that you can file the I-140 in premium, and then do an H-1B extension from the full question that you have here. This is a time-sensitive situation, and you already know that. And I'm trying to see if I can give you a very clear answer here. And I'm going to try my best. See, generally, H-1B workers who have a cap exempt extension pending, meaning that your employer has filed or is about to file for an extension of your H-1B status. People in that category may have protection under what is called the cap gap or extension filing rules. However, for your I-94 to remain valid during a pending extension, listen to me closely here, the extension petition must be filed with immigration before your current I-94 expires. You can't file an extension of an I-94 after it has expired. So if you are approaching your July 3rd I-94 expiration date and the H-1B extension has not yet been filed, you are at risk of accruing unlawful presence after that date, after July 3rd. Even a few days of unlawful presence can have consequences, particularly if it becomes a pattern or if you travel internationally and you're coming back, they're going to raise it for you. So in my own opinion, the most important immediate step to take is to speak to your employer's immigration attorney about filing the H-1B extension as quickly as possible. Ideally, they should file it before July 3rd. Now, if filing before that date is not possible, discover, or rather you want to discuss with your lawyer whether a bridge strategy such as change of status or other interim option is available. People make a lot of moves from H-1B back to a B1, back to F1, just to have that bridge. You got to discuss that with your lawyer. You cannot simply stay one more week without consequence unless a valid petition or extension has been properly filed and is pending. That is why I say the first step you need to take is get that H-1B extension filed. That keeps you in status while you explore the options. You already know that, but I'm going to say it again. Unlawful presence has significant long-term immigration consequences. You don't want to be caught on that. And you start to accrue unlawful presence if your I-94 expires and you don't have any extension pending. So, my takeaway for you, don't mess around, don't wait. Contact your employer's immigration attorney today. And make the filing of the extension an emergency priority. It has to be filed before that your I-94 expires. If he asks you for the money to do it, paying or whatever lawyer you are doing, is worth it for you to get that extension in there before your I-94 expires on July 3rd. I hope that sinks in. It's not play work. All right, let's have the next question. Grace. And it says here, my two parents and I are green card holders after approval in 2023. Can we travel to Umrah using only our home country passports? Would the new 2026 rules impact us at all? Okay, let's dig into that. As green card holders who originally sought asylum, from the detailed stuff I'm seeing here, this question requires you to be careful, to be very careful. First, general rule: a lawful permanent resident who was granted asylum based on this your detailed stuff that I'm looking at should not travel on the passport of the country from which they sought asylum without first obtaining a refugee travel document. Doing so can be interpreted by U.S. authorities as what is called a voluntary reavailment of your home country's protection, which can in extreme cases affect your asylum-based immigration status and potentially impact your naturalization application. Okay? So it's important for you to understand that. Regarding the 2026 rules that you're worried about, there have been various changes to immigration policy in 2026, many of them almost on a daily basis. But the basic guidance around asylum people, since you say that's what you are, those who have got their green card through asylum, and international travel, fundamentally the rules have not changed. So the risk of using a home country passport remains, particularly as immigration officials are scrutinizing travel history more closely under the current priorities. So here's my takeaway, because I'm seeing that this your asylum, this your green card through asylum thing bothers me a bit. Applying for refugee travel documents for yourself and your parents before making any international travel plans is what I would do. You're not just a regular person who got a green card. You got a green card through asylum. You should get your refugee travel document. It is safe and legally sound approach. Don't travel on your own country passports without first consulting an immigration attorney. You just said the country wants to kill you or whatever your story must have been. You can't be carrying your passport and traveling around with it anyhow. Hope you understand that. I hope that gets you. Let's look at the next question. Do I need to pay the annual asylum fee now, or should I wait for immigration to notify me? My USCIS online account states, at this time, the annual asylum fee payment is not due for this case. If you have seen that, the answer is straightforward, okay? Follow what your online account is telling you. The USCIS know better about your status than me. Your USCIS account specifically stated, according to you, that the annual asylum fee is not currently due, and that USCIS will issue you a notice when it becomes due. That is official guidance specific to your case. Don't look for problem where there is no problem. You do not need to take any action until you receive that notice. Do not make any payment based on informal information. All this WhatsApp advice, third-party advice, or general reports about this asylum thing that is going on everywhere online. Payment instruction for asylum fees, like all immigration fees, must come through USCIS official channels. either through your online accounts or by formal notice. I want to beg you, don't look for problem when there is no problem, unless you like problem. Also, the history of this asylum fee that we are paying now also supports you to be patient. When it was first announced, immigration later walked back the requirement before many applicants paid. And immigration made it even more confusing. So you are smart to wait for the official clarification, and now you have it. My advice here, and what should be your takeaway here, is that your USCIS account is your most reliable source for your case-specific information. Don't listen to any funny lawyers like me. Don't listen to WhatsApp. Don't listen to what they are saying online. What immigration is saying to you in your own case-specific account is what overrides. And right now, from what you just told me, it says no fee is due right now. So wait for the official notice. Don't pay anything until immigration tells you to, so that you don't go and start complication where there should be no complication. All right? Hope you got that. I know that we are all anxious. I know that there's a lot of anxiety across the land. Even those abroad are anxious for us a lot in America now. But that is no reason to panic and start jumping around paying everything that somebody told you to go and pay when your own immigration account is telling you there's no money due. You can send that money to me if you have too much money. I need money here. Okay? You know where my address is. I'll be happy to collect that from you. Don't listen to WhatsApp lawyers. Listen to immigration and get a proper immigration lawyer if you have serious question. All right? Even Grace is laughing at that one. Grace, maybe they should give you the money. He's frozen. Maybe they should send the money to you. Okay, I think she's frozen. All right. Let's go to the next question, Grace. If you're there, can you please let me put the next question on from the comments on board? I think she's frozen out there. Let's see what we got. Okay. Next question here. And this may be our final question for the night, unless you post more questions out there. Let's see. Job from Louisville, Kentucky says, I applied for asylum after entering on a visa, but my case was sent to immigration court instead of an interview. Why this happened? And what should I expect will happen next? First, don't panic. Don't panic, Job. Panic is your number one enemy. This transfer straight to the judge is actually more common than many applicants realize. And understanding why this happened is very, very important. So don't panic. When you file your asylum application after entering the US on a visa, immigration was responsible for scheduling an asylum interview through what they call the affirmative asylum process. However, and this is the reality that a lot of applicants are not aware of, immigration now has a backlog of over 1.5 million. Do you hear that? Immigration has a backlog of over, depending on which service you are listening to, some say 1.4 million people, some people say 1.5 million affirmative asylum cases. And I believe it's a lot more than that, especially with the spate that has happened in the last 1 year. So when the agency is unable to schedule an interview within a reasonable time and your authorized period of stay expires, immigration may refer your case to the immigration court rather than scheduling an interview. They are doing a lot of that. They don't want to do their own part well. They don't refer it to the judge. Now, there is no need to panic because they did that. Because this referral places you in what is called now a defensive asylum process. Affirmative is when you file with immigration. Hopefully, they grant it, but if they don't grant it and refer it to the judge, like you in your case, then it becomes a defensive asylum process. So instead of having an interview with an asylum officer, you will now present your asylum case before an immigration judge. And the legal standards for asylum are the same. But the process and the setting are different. I even prefer the asylum, the defensive one before immigration judge, than the affirmative one before immigration officers at USCIS. So you don't need to panic, because the judge is more likely to give you more time to present your case, allows you to build evidence, allows you to use lawyers to help you, which you may not get in an affirmative asylum process with immigration. So having a court date in October gives you time to prepare, but you should be taking action now. Don't wait for October. You need to obtain qualified immigration legal representation before your first hearing. Gather and organize supporting evidence for your asylum claim, and understand the immigration court process. Here is a takeaway you must take from this. Don't panic. Your case was not denied, it was transferred. But the immigration court process is more formal, and it's an adversarial one than an asylum officer interview. In other words, there's the one with the immigration court, you're going to have your lawyer making your case with you, and you're going to have immigration officers cross-examining you and trying to tilt you up. Unlike the one before the immigration officer at USCIS, where it's just the officer that is asking you questions, and your lawyer, if he's present, is just there to observe. It's not going to get into arguments with immigration officers if he knows what he's doing. It's not adversarial at the USCIS level. It becomes adversarial when you get to the court. My personal advice, you must appear at that October hearing with legal representation and a prepared case. Don't just show up there. Have a prepared case so that you can have a fair chance of getting the judge to listen to you thoroughly, getting immigration to interview you, and then hopefully be able to win your case with the judge. A lot more people win even with the judge than with immigration officers. So it's not something to panic about. Just see that they've changed the context of your case now, and now it is becoming more of a case than you just trying to convince immigration officer. That's really what it is. And this is where I think we are going to draw the curtain for today. My 4 musketeers, they've been warning me that I need to be closing on time. So it's exactly 2 hours. Let me bring up some of them that are still up here with me. Okay, I think Grace is down. All right, that's all we can cover today. I want to appreciate every one of you for coming in today and joining us with the Immigration Survivor Show with Dr. Ope Banwo on day 8 of the 30-day marathon. Help us share this link with your friends if you have the link as we come to an end of this live show, so that people can watch the replay. Or if you have friends in America or those planning to come to America who can benefit from some of the questions we have answered tonight. The important thing is for us to keep surviving with information, proper knowledge, and confidence. No matter what is going on in America right now, this is not the time for you to panic. When I come back, we'll bring the show to an end. So when I finally became a licensed attorney in the US, I made a decision that still guides my work till today. I told myself I would dedicate my career to breaking the 2 biggest enemies immigrants face, which is fear and ignorance. Why? Because I have lived both. Today, I help immigrants understand something many still do not know. America is not your enemy. Yes. America simply requires you to follow the legal process, even under Trump. After representing immigrants for over 29 years and helping more than 12,000 get their papers and fight their immigration case, I know this truth about America despite the drama going on today. No country on earth offers more legal pathways for immigrants than the United States. You just need to understand the options
and have the right legal guidance. So my mission now is simple: to help immigrants stop living in fear, to help them discover opportunities they never knew existed, and to guide them toward the future that they deserve. So if you feel lost in the immigration system, if you believe you may have options but don't know where to start, or if fear has been keeping you from pursuing your legal status, you don't have to face it alone anymore. My name is Attorney Ope Banwo, and that is why I fight for immigrants. My name is Ope Banwo, and they call me the Immigration Rottweiler. Not because I bark, not because I make noise, but because I don't let go. When your case gets tough, when the system pushes back, when others start telling you there is nothing we can do, that's when you call me. Because once I lock into your case, I don't stop, I don't quit, and I don't back down until we get results. So go book a consultation on speakwithope.com now, and let's activate the Rottweiler mode on your case before the immigration knocks on your door.
Alrighty, that's all we got for tonight. Thank you. We'll see you same time tomorrow as we bring another scintillating edition of the memo of the day, updates of the day, and answer all your questions as you have them. If you are watching this now, or maybe the recording, and you have questions for us, please post it on the comment section where you are reading this or watching this. My paralegals, I've got 4 of them who are working with me on this show. They will pick your questions from there, and we'll try as much as possible to respond to them on subsequent shows. But we prefer for you to come live and ask your question live so that we can answer it for you. That's it. Remember, do not allow complacency to turn your American dream into a nightmare. Take action today, and I will see you tomorrow. And Dr. Pez out.